So we told you we were going to get personal and we're recording our personal conversations. And we've done just that for the past, I don't even know, 20 plus episodes at this point. But we're going to flip the script a little bit and get personal on our business questions today. So for those of you who are back, welcome to the Girlfriends Without Benefits podcast. For those of you who are listening for the first time, buckle up.
Yay.
Jade, I feel like you should really take it away because this practice is something that was your idea.
Yeah.
So can you explain what it is that we're doing?
What's the really great name we came up for me title that's HR, but not HR?
I think like people and culture. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to go
Something
with.
like that. But I take that job very seriously and I love fostering communication. So I'm a big fan of Esther Perel, and she has mentioned several times on her podcast and Instagram this game that she encourages couples to play. And I was also listening to another podcast, and Kim Cole, who is a very successful entrepreneur, CEO, she was talking about how she fosters both her personal relationship with her husband and her business relationship with her employees by asking very sensitive and personal questions on a weekly basis. So I created a jar of questions, and they're not the easiest to answer. I knew they were good questions because they made me feel squirmy and squeamish when I was writing them and thinking about answering them.
So do you want to give the listeners a few just examples of the questions before we kind of dive into? We're going to answer a question live on the podcast today. So you can really hear our personal question, our personal responses in our personal lives. Again, just pressing record.
And I think it's important too to mention as well that Jade wrote these down on paper and folded them and put them in a jar and draws them at random. So she doesn't have time to prepare. We don't have time to prepare. It's completely on the spot in the moment. Whatever we draw is what we answer that day. And we just trust it's the question that we need to talk about.
That was my big thing when she told us this process. I'm like, Jade, you can't know ahead. Like, you can't have 30 hours to prepare a great answer. And Kaylin and I be put on the spot and like have no idea what we're talking about. So
right.
If we're going to do this, it's going to be like popsicle sticks. We're going to be kindergarten all over again, and it's going to be wonderful.
Correct. Yes, exactly. So questions, some examples of questions that are in the jar. What's one thing I can stop doing right now to be a better business partner to you? And when I say business partner, I'm including, we're friends. We work together, spiritually and business.
Basically everything but those benefits.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Oh, and we're full circle back to our title. What has worried you most the past few weeks? And then the question that I just drew. This is, you guys are taking our maiden voyage on these questions with us. So the first official question from the jar of questions is, what's something that feels sensitive to talk about right now? So when you're feeling sensitive about a subject matter, it's hard to bring it up because you feel sensitive. And oftentimes those are the actual subject matters that really need to be brought out into the light. And even if you need to process them alone, and it's still good to bring them up to the surface. So that's the question. What's something that feels sensitive to talk about right now? And we're all really quiet, staring at each other.
Cass has to take it away because she was on co about answering this question when it was pulled.
Oh, was I?
You were like, yes, let's do that one.
Let's do it.
Because I live in the world of bringing up sensitive topics. I feel like there's probably something in my astrology chart, Jade can tell you, that is like bringing up sensitive topics and like almost like my too muchness or the things that come through. Sensitive to talk about right now. The piece that is kind of coming up for me is like about some of the downloads that I'm receiving and some of like the crazy ideas that are coming through. Like, I'm still always worried that what I say is just going to make you be like, okay, I want out of business. And I'm laughing about it because I know it's not true, but like in that moment when stuff comes through, I'm like, oh, this is going to be like the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm going to be like, hey, we're like not doing this, or like, hey, we're going a different way, or like, hey, there's a different vision. And like, I just feel like, and that probably has a lot to do with as my trauma response from abandonment of like, oh, these people who I like now love and let into my circle and know way too much about me are going to leave me. So I think that's like, for me, it's not one thing, but like really a whole topic of like, again, and like being the visionary, like, I feel like I'm supposed to do that, but there's also this like hesitation internally of like, oh shit, am I going to say something that's going to make them like, be like, okay, peace out.
Well,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I can understand that. 1,000%. I mean, like Kaylin just is like, well, no. I'm like, well, no, hasn't happened yet. So I don't really have any like profound words.
So now my brain is going to pick that yet word down part.
I don't know. I've been with you for just about 3 years now, and what I do and where we are now and where you were and where we were when I started is totally different. And it's, it's all worked out so far. So I feel pretty confident that, and I think too, I like trust you, right? And
probably more than I trust myself, but that's
probably
maybe a podcast for a different day.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. But I do feel, because you've shown and you've proven through your actions and through your words that you are a genuine human being and you are a genuine friend, and that you don't have ill intentions for myself or for Jade. Or for yourself, because realistically, decisions that we're making and downloads that you're getting also affect you. And aren't always favorable for you. It's not like you get these downloads and it's like, you need to stop doing this and I get to start doing this. And it's like, no, they're like, aren't always easy things for you, for yourself too. So yeah, you're not going to scare me away. I can't speak for Jade because I can only speak for myself, but you're not going to scare me away.
I think so. Coming at it from a different perspective as the newbie to the group, it hasn't been that long. I have my own trauma responses to women, right? And again, we're going to talk about this on another podcast, why women don't trust other women. I think for especially for Cass and I, it's a huge deal that we're even here right now. I know that. And I know that I get triggered all the time, almost on a daily basis of, can I really though, trust? And it's deep seated trauma, the generational trauma. But to take it from that realm to a practical realm, I invested my money into this company. It's not just my, we're not doing this quote for fun, even though it's the most fun work I've ever done. We are invested energetically in that way. And you guys know how important money is to me. Like, it's a big deal.
Correct.
That I strapped myself that way and spent my money in this way. So I am invested, that I'm entangled in that way. And because I will do whatever it takes, including writing down crazy questions and putting them in a glass jar and pulling them out every week to make sure that we stay connected and on the same page and keep healing and rising together. So,
and I feel like it's funny for me because like, since you guys have invested and now our energy has switched to be 100% there, like the things that come through that like may have been like normal before or pseudo normal are now getting like more larger and are getting more outlandish and like more like seemingly left field. Yes, all of the dots connect, like looking back, but looking forward, you're like, why the fuck am I doing this loan? Or why the fuck are we getting sent there? Or like all of the things. And like one of the conversations that we just had when I got back from this retreat was like, basically I am supposed to continue traveling and doing this and networking and meeting people. And I was like, part of me was like, oh, well, what happens like if you guys want to? Like, I feel bad that I'm doing that. So like, and then they both set me straight a couple of days ago.
We're like, we don't want to go to the places you're going.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Like, though, like that doesn't sound fun to me. Like forcing myself to throw up. Yeah. No, thanks.
Like podcast for a different day too.
I know I'm going on this special retreat and I'm gonna puke a lot and I really feel guilty that I'm the one going and you guys were like, okay.
I guess when you put it that way and listening, but again, it sounds different to you than it does to me, which is why we have these questions, because like for me, I'm like, oh, I get to travel. I get to go to these different places. I get to do this next level of trauma release while finding our CTO and our mental health professional. Like, and that, yes, I'm puking on a hill, but that seems very luxurious.
The three of us we have so many similarities, but we also, our personality types are so different.
Yeah.
And what fulfills Cass and what fulfills Jade doesn't necessarily fulfill me. And what fulfills me doesn't necessarily fulfill them.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there is crossover. Absolutely. Do we all love to travel? Yes, we do. But do we all love to travel the way that Cass has been called to travel? No.
No, thank you.
No ashram stays, kitchery diets, puking on a hill.
Yeah, no, I think it's beautiful and I love what it does for you. And I love what, obviously, selfishly, I love what it does for the business, right? But like, I also feel zero parts of me jealous or envious that that's your responsibility in this partnership and that mine looks different. Nope.
For now.
Well, for the sake of time, let's move to I'm going to say mine because it segues really beautifully into what you're talking about. It's kind of the same thing. And that is one of those, quote, you know, out of left field, outlandish things is you just had this download after a beautiful session with an intuitive healer that we worked with, who, you know, we've been getting the message from left and right that we need to prune. We're taking on a lot and we've all been like trying to figure out what that means. And you got the download that you felt like the pruning might be me letting go of some of my clients in the way that I do my personal business.
Not letting go of Jade, just clarifying. Like,
no, she can't go, actually. We need her.
Energetically, I have been spreading myself really thin, right? And I've also been increasingly feeling like the work I know a lot of my clients listen to this podcast and I love you all so much. But the way that I was working with a lot of my follow-up clients was just not sustainable for me. And it was taking a lot of the energy away from this work. And so that's something that I had to sit with for a minute, but because of my human design, I know that I'm supposed to go with my gut. And that's the very first thing that happens when I hear information. It's a whole body yes or a whole body no. And my whole body was like, yes, that's time to let that go. So the sensitive area comes up in that it's still, after my body says yes, and I do the pruning, it doesn't make it easy, right? There's a lot, it's just not an easy thing to prune. Pruning involves cutting and like burning branches and stuff. And it's hard. So
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. But so it's a process and it does feel, you know, sensitive to talk about, but I think we are talking about it. So yeah, that's mine. I have others too, but
no, so I would just love for you to go a little bit more into detail too, as it relates to, because like the listeners don't know you on a daily basis. They don't know what your schedule looks like. They don't know what your energy looks like. So just like in the past, because this has happened like a week ago now, or a week and a half ago, like what has happened in the past week and a half since you said yes?
It feels like a burden is lifted. It feels great. It feels almost too good. And then I start going, oh, what's wrong? Something must be wrong because this is easy, you know? I just said pruning involves cutting and burning branches, but it hasn't felt like that at all. It's been more like, wee, I love you, client. Mwah, mwah. I'm going to bring you back in this other form. And it hasn't been hard at all. It's weird how a lot of other things have fallen into place to allow me just emotionally and mentally to invite alignment with where money is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to be specific, but then that would bring up a whole nother topic. We don't have time for that.
Which again, every time we do this podcast, we get 8 new podcast topics. So.
Correct.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, I mean, it's a sensitive thing. The money piece is always going to be sensitive. We are dealing with, even though the percentage that I put in is much less, to me, it's represents a lot. Right. And so that's always a sensitive topic, money. And we just have to keep doing exactly what we're doing, which is just really honest and open with each other and keep reminding Cass not to take responsibility for things.
I like how you just squeezed that one in there. No, but I will say, like, even over the past week and a half, just watching you start, like, it's funny. The minute you said yes, like you went to bed the next day, we talked in the morning and you were like, and I have this idea and I can do this and I can do this and I can pull my gifts in here. And like, it just like spiraled. It was like really beautiful to see too, of like what happens like when Jade says yes, or what happens like when, again, this is like a chain of events. I get download, I freak out, I tell Kaylin download first, then I tell Jade, especially when it's about Jade. And then Jade,
and I'm like, you're fine, just say it, just say the word, she's not gonna care, you just need to say it.
So, but it's just
Jade loves you.
I'm like, does she really? She's good with me.
I'm like, no,
it's an issue here.
No, and again, I know we talk about it all the time, but it's just another plug also for, figuring yourself out, dear listener. How do you need to make decisions? Because it's very helpful for me to know that. And that is not the truth for everyone who's listening, that immediate yes or no. Sometimes you need to take a step back and be, like think about it emotionally. But for me personally, that's how I am supposed to, and I'm designed to make decisions, is the immediate full body yes or no. So just had to throw that in there too. People be quitting their jobs left and right.
Oh my God.
I got a full body no.
I got a full body no about my job today, so I quit.
I mean, there are some days I get a full body no about this and I still persevere. So just putting a little plug for sometimes don't listen to the full no.
Sometimes your body and your spirit are not in alignment. So let's make sure.
A podcast again for a different day.
Correct. That's a whole nother topic we could really get into.
Oh my gosh. As I'm writing these all down.
Okay. So do we have enough time for me?
100%.
Okay. So Jade, will you read the question one more time? Because I want to make sure I phrase my response properly, because that's me on brand.
What's something that feels sensitive to talk about right now?
Okay. So there are topics that I know that the three of us need to cover together that I don't want to talk about because it feels personal, and I know it's not personal. It's a business conversation, but I don't want it to come off. Jade's nodding her head right now. I don't want
so cute.
I don't want it to come off as personal. And so I need permission to have a business conversation that might feel personal, but isn't.
And of course, my head's like,
that was cute.
My head's like, okay, cool, let's go. Like, you want to keep pressing record while we're talking about it? Like,
but seriously, that is what feels tough right now. Knowing that, like, I know there is an elephant that we need, a proverbial elephant in the room that we need to address, and that the three of us have not yet, because I care about the both of you in a personal way. And if it was a business conversation and I didn't care about you guys in a personal way, I would be able to have the conversation. Like, no big deal.
Am I the only one who's in the dark about this topic? Or Jade, do you have any idea what she's talking about?
I'm not positive, but I think I do. And I think that the point of it is that all of our business and our families are so closely intertwined. Mm-hmm. And that is just the way it is. I mean, we, kind of move and breathe together as a whole. And so when you have to back up and talk business, there's other things that are being affected. So
yeah. As a throuple.
Yeah.
Basically. Yes.
Exactly.
Some polycule counseling.
So what I'm saying is I need permission right now.
Permission granted.
Exactly. And it's been recorded, so you even have it in writing, basically.
Perfect.
But now you know the 7 in me is like, what does she want to talk about? When is it happening? And then my abandonment issues come up. I'm like, is it the crazy idea I came up with last week?
No.
So,
no.
Full circle.
Never.
Full circle.
Never.
Yeah, actually, it came across sounding maybe a lot more ominous than it actually is. It's not at all. It's not. It's just that, back to that whole thing. Like, a sensitive topic to you, Kaylin, is not a sensitive topic to another person, but it is to you. So it's important to, ask the question. We may continue this conversation on record, or we may continue this conversation and you don't get to be part of it, listener. But
right now I'm going to hit end recording because I need to know what the sensitive topic is.
I just received permission. Okay. So I feel good.
Okay. So here I go. I'm ending recording. Thank you. Catch you on the next episode.